You get lost in your imperfections. You get lost in the things you want. But if you slow down for just 1 second, you might feel way better than you thought. And if you took a second to breathe, took a minute to cry, or maybe you would see that all this time I've been right here. Baby, I know it, life can get hard, keep going. I just wanna be the one you need right now. Baby, would you turn and look at me right now? Me right now. What's going on? You can tell me everything that's going wrong. Only say the word will disappear somehow. All we gotta do is be right here, right now. Right now. Maybe we could go and find a view if we need some entertainment. But we don't have to hurry, cause our conversation's always entertaining. And if you just want me to listen, I can do that too. Because all that I can do for you, I'll do. Oh yeah, yeah. Baby, I know it, life can get hard, keep going. I just wanna be the one you need right now. Baby, would you turn and look at me right now? Me right now.
bit of production quality to the live stream, and I think this week we did just that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Does it sound good?
Yeah, let us know in the comments if it sounds good, and what do you think? What do you think? I'd like to just start out by saying I apologize. I know I made that post earlier that said we were going to go live right at 11 o'clock. But let me explain something to you. Homestead time is a different clock. It's a completely different clock, right? So what I find is that it's about a half hour off. You think? It's kind of like halfway between daylight savings time and standard time.
Exactly.
So yeah. Hey, Lila, will you let us know if everything sounds good and everything looks good? That would be awesome. Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, and we're inside today also because it is raining on and off outside, and
yeah, and all the equipment doesn't like the rain, so we're hoping that this still works indoor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that the sound of the leather couch isn't like. So.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. You may hear some children every now and again.
Yeah, you'll probably hear children, and but hopefully you can still hear. Oh, great and great.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Lila.
Well, that's really good to hear. So, well, I'd like to kind of jump into some of the things that we want to talk about today. The first of which is we kind of want to show you our little setup that we got here, which is pretty interesting. And look at that. We got the big computer, the editing computer set up so that it's not a computer problem if things go down. We've got lights, we've got the microphone, we got 2 cameras. See, this is our like podcast cam. This just makes us feel like like we're doing something for Rilla. So yeah, you want to jump back?
Go back, boom.
Oh yeah. See, look at that. We're like a whole. How many homesteads do you know that can live stream like this? I mean,
and off grid.
And off grid, totally off grid, which is fantastic. I'm so glad to hear that. That's fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah. So so let's see what else. So we're going to talk today about doing things the old way, which is a different topic than you may think, because I'm not just going to talk about doing laundry on the side of a river up against a rock with some plants as soap. That's not exactly what I want to talk about. There's something specific that we're going to get into.
As soothing as that does sound.
As soothing, I mean, doesn't that just sound? It sounds almost.
River.
Hey, Doris, and we can see it on. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yay!
Yes, we can see on both the YouTube and the Facebook chats. It's not showing up on the screen, but I don't want to debug that right now. So, Doris, a very good coffee to you, and Lila, a very good coffee to you. I'm so glad that you guys made it. Mm-hmm. So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So besides the doing stuff the old way, we'd also like to give you a little update about how things are going here. We're progressing and things are actually moving in the right direction. We're like making strides. But there is one thing I'd like to complain about first. If you guys don't mind, there's something that I really want to complain about, which is we made this video. And we put a ton of work into it. And at the last moment, I decided, or we decided, see, I got to use we when it's a good thing and I when I did something stupid.
I love him.
It's something I need to work on. So at the last moment, we decided to kind of switch up our operating basis. And we made a thumbnail for the video, and we decided to put Carrie on the thumbnail. And
Actually, that was his idea, which I think is very sweet.
so we decided to put Carrie on the thumbnail. Or I did, or whatever. And this is what I got to complain about. Okay, is we looked through all our past videos and we wanted to see what the actual click-through rate of the thumbnail was. Like, how often when people see it do they click on it, and what percentage of the time that it's presented to them, how often do they click on it. So our best click-through rate previously on a video was 1.9%. Right? So 1.9% of people that it was showed to, they'd click on it. So, and that was usually with me on the thing, on the thumbnail. So we put Carrie on the thumbnail. All of a sudden, we got a 3.6% click-through rate. And I mean, it makes sense because, you know, she's a hot blonde and I'm a potato-shaped ogre who has a good personality, which doesn't... It really doesn't translate into the thumbnail of a video. So, I mean, how would they know? So anyway, the thing I needed to complain about is that why it got to be about that, you know, like, you know, it's like double standards or whatever, but it's supposed to be about the content, you know. But no, you put a hot blonde on your thumbnail, people click on it, and so that video is currently kicking the hell out of every other video that we've ever made, as far as views per hour, and I'm really excited to say that we will be making a lot more thumbnails with Carrie on them. So yeah. Anyhow. So I don't really complain. It's fantastic. It's a really good video. We also answered the most important question about homesteading right at the beginning, just to give you like the best value possible, and that is it important for an off-gridsman, which is a term that Carrie coined this week, to have a beard? And in fact, we determined that it is the most important factor, because who wants to talk to a man without a beard? Honestly, you know, it's kind of like asking a skinny chef if the food's good. You know, come on. So yeah, there you go. There's my rant right off the bat. So hot blondes make everyone smile. That is the truth. That is the truth. So
well, thanks, love.
You're very, very welcome.
That's very, very sweet of you.
Yes. And then you may also notice Carrie has a new coffee cup.
Oh my God! It's an early Mother's Day present from my kids. Tired as a mother.
Yeah, which is
it's perfect for me.
Perfect. You may also notice that I'm back to drinking my coffee out of a mason jar like a man, which is also, you know, I think it's just more real for me. When I'm drinking out of a coffee cup, I feel like it's like, ooh, Mr. Fancy, you know. Oh, he's being, you know, ostentatious.
Plus, there's so much more coffee.
There's so much more coffee.
That whole pot, it's 2 of those.
And I hope you notice I am so hopped up on caffeine because I've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning working on getting this ridiculous setup that we have in here set up. So, yeah.
To which I said, ew.
Yeah, she did.
It's very early.
It's very early.
Yeah. But also awesome. This is lovely.
Yep. Super awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Super duper duper awesome. So, what else? Oh, yeah, we wanted to do some updates.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you want to start?
Okay. So, I have considered myself to have a brown thumb. I don't know. I've had little ferns. That's about it.
Black thumb?
Whatever.
Not quite not quite a black thumb, but
Are you?
I don't
are
know
you
that.
taking me down a peg?
I don't know. I don't know that brown thumb communicates it, but yeah, we'll go with it. She said a brown thumb.
Anyway, so we have in the past grown tomatoes successfully and squash, and I felt like that was really his doing. So nice job on that.
You're welcome.
This time around, we have started, and in this case, I started. I've got 12 little apple trees that are this big now. I started from seed, and then a bunch of other stuff I planted. And I'm telling you, I looked inside these pots, and I saw these tiny little sprouts, and I'm like, oh, those must be weeds, because I can't grow anything. So I'm like, this morning, actually every day now, I'm seeing new things pop up from the seeds that I've planted in little containers. And like, I can't even believe how excited I am. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm making plants. It's so exciting, and we're gonna get the garden all situated to take the plants and put them in there. And then I went a little bit crazy yesterday and bought all kinds of additional things that we weren't really planning on having. So now I kind of need to replan where things go in the garden. Like who doesn't want pumpkins, right? So I got pumpkins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pumpkins are super important.
Yeah, celery and broccoli.
While she's telling you about this, I'm going to share this video into a few more groups. So
okay.
Never mind me.
Cool. So anyhow, I'm like super excited about that, and I'm learning everything from scratch as I go. What everything is meaning, and I did a little test of our soil using vinegar in one test and baking soda in another test. And I did make a little video about it, which I haven't shared yet. Maybe I will. It's silly, but I'm shocked that it was like perfect soil, right? Right where it should be as far as the kind of homemade test went. And still in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, I couldn't have done it. I must not have done it right, because it was so perfect.
You did it super right. She was super right, people.
Yeah. So I know a lot of you must be gardening, and if you've got any tips and tricks to share with me, I'm growing all kinds of stuff: strawberries and tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, celery, lettuce, corn, cucumbers, watermelon. So I'm really in over my head, and I hope that I don't just get bushy, leafy plants, and they are actually, giving us food. I'm off to a really great start, because I did everything backwards so far, and as far as getting the garden set up, and we're doing a back to Eden, and so we've got a little bit of fixing to do on that. But fortunately, there aren't any plants there yet, so there's no harm done yet. And then I managed to buy a bunch more soil instead of compost, because apparently no one sells compost at the larger stores. I did find out from a gardening group in the area that I'm a part of that there's a couple places in the other direction that have some good soil. I'm sorry, compost. That's how. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, I would just like to say, you may be in over your head, but I will help you tread water.
Thanks. And that's good. That's good. I can fail as long as I learn and do it better next time.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole trick, right?
Compost. Yep.
Yeah, it's all about compost.
Lila, that's funny. So excited, I wet my plants. Exactly.
That's awesome.
I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. It blows me away. I mean, it's like an adrenaline rush. I'm like, oh,
she was super excited. I haven't seen her that excited since finding out about child 1.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Mm-hmm.
over the moon. So I want to keep them healthy. I had a very very heart to heart conversation with my plants. What would that be? Heart to root? I don't know.
Yeah.
I hear talking to your plants is not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's good.
Anyway, I told them, you take care of me, and I will learn everything I need to know to take care of you. Fair?
I feel like that's the best kind of compromise you could have made with them.
Thanks, love.
Yeah. That's very good. What else? I had like a whole list of things that I wanted to update on. What else? Things are just progressing. We're just like making progress on everything.
There's the meat pack.
Oh yeah, that was one of the big things. We also yesterday went and picked up a family pack of meat from the local butcher shop, which we've been meaning to do for a couple of weeks now, and we just haven't. So we went and we picked up 80 pounds of meat. 80 pounds of meat, steak and
Bacon.
hamburger, bacon, ground beef, sausage,
Ground pork.
Yeah, pork steaks and chicken and all kinds of stuff. So the small cube freezer that we have set up is completely and totally jam packed. It's pretty awesome actually, and we came up with this really interesting like way to organize it. You guys probably all do this already, but if you don't, here's a little tip for you. What we did was we broke up all of the different types of meat into 5 groups of equal amounts of each type of meat, and then we put one layer on the bottom, and then one layer on top of that, and one layer on top of that, and that way we didn't have to dig all the way to the bottom of the freezer to get the thing that we wanted. That is, unless
pretty good idea.
I think it was a pretty good idea.
Good.
I'm just gonna say it's a pretty good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah. That was super exciting.
Totally.
Super exciting. Wait, one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Lila, on the companion planting, with raised beds, does that matter? You can answer at your leisure. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Also, your app that you have, that you've been using.
The picture there. Yeah, where I can find out what the plants are and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it helps you lay them out so that it does companion plant.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So I found on almanac.com, you can actually create. They have like this I don't know. It's on the web, but you can basically make a garden on that, and it'll give you the companion planting, and you can actually like whatever your garden space is going to be dimensions wise, you can put that in. And then, say you want strawberries, then you drag the strawberries onto it, and it'll actually give you the space that it will need to grow. So you can not only just, be like, I want strawberries here, you can see the space that it's it should have to grow, and how many you could fit within that space. It's super cool. So we've been using that. I gotta add all my other stuff to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Super sweet. Doris, not a problem. We just we enjoy having you here. So however it comes across to you, I hope it's not on our end. There is a storm right now, so our internet connection is a little slower than it normally is, but doesn't look like we're dropping many frames. So
nice.
Well, yeah, it does, but whatever. We are recording this as well because we're using the big computer. We have enough power to do that. So we'll probably post it as a video later, and it'll be higher quality and everything. So
cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, so we talked about the meat pack. Oh, you went shopping and got a bunch of just raw ingredients for things, which is something that we've never really done. We've just gotten things that we can cook quickly and that are easy and all of that stuff. But I'll tell you, the old budget doesn't you can't justify that you know,
the cost of groceries every time. It's like everything is $2 more. Like every 2 weeks I go to the store, it feels like.
yeah.
So it's no longer what do the kids eat, like, and the demand that they have that we need to then supply. It's now, here's what we need to supply and make that like work for the demand. So
Yeah, I got
we
all
make
like,
bread and
yeah, I got all like about it the last week, and I went and bought like a 20-pound bag of beans and like rice and all of that stuff, and I made chili, right? And it was so hot. It was delicious to me, but it was so hot that
one
nobody
could
else
eat
could eat it. So I was like, well, I'll just let you handle that side of things, because at least they'll eat it. Yeah. So anyhow.
Yeah. Yep. So I'm gonna learn all kinds of skills that I just thought I didn't need to learn and do because I kind of didn't really want to.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
It was a source of contention for us last week. Our arguments are pretty funny though, because it'll just be like me going blah, 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 and her going okay. And then it's over. We're pretty good. We're pretty good at communicating. So
Yeah, baby.
So yeah.
Yeah. So I'm learning all sorts of things that I feel like most people in my position either grew up knowing and really enjoying cooking or gardening, and those were like really big parts of their upbringing, or things that they at least took a big interest in that led them to this lifestyle. I just liked being outside and playing. Like,
Yeah.
I loved it my whole life. I mostly was outside. So being inside cooking is like, ugh. But I'm actually genuinely excited to learn how to make the bread. You know, we spend like $75 a month on bread. That's stupid, because it's not like $1 anymore. So it just like, you know what? Let's make our own. And as I learn how to do that better, then I'll get healthier ingredients, and maybe one day we will grow wheat that I can ground up in the handy dandy machines that are available for those things. Make our own flour, and oof, yum.
Yeah. And on that day, I'm gonna buy Carrie a bonnet that she can wear while she's
Oh my gosh, it makes me
separating
so
wheat from
excited.
chaff. You know, it's gonna be awesome. That day, you're gonna know that day when that day happens because of this. So
Does that mean I need to get you like a black rimmed hat?
hell yeah, I would wear that.
Bonnet.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Let's see what Doris has to say here. I can see the eyes lighting up at getting your own food started. It is, let's see, the after work that your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can start to get the love for doing it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
yeah.
It's something that, you know, when we were out here before, we really focused more on the off-grid living side than we did on the homesteading side, and they go hand in hand, which is like my segues are getting phenomenal because it's kind of goes right back into into what we're saying here.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, and I am that's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah.
I'm like seeing them and kind of holding my breath because I'm like, oh, I hope that I get food from them, and you know, can get the you know, just keep them healthy and give them what they need. I know what that is for the various plants.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So speaking of segues being phenomenal, sorry, I had to move the chat because I couldn't see, I couldn't see what you guys were saying. What I wanted to talk about today is the concept of doing things the old way. Now that can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. So it's like, you know, addressing a fever with leeches. Not what I'm talking about. Right? We're not taking people to the barber to have them bled of their evil spirits or anything else like that. That's not what I mean.
In case that's what you thought.
Just in case you wondered. Like, I could see how it would be pretty easy to make that assumption from what I'm saying. What I'm talking about is community. And I had a very interesting experience this week. So when we were making videos back in the past, there wasn't a community of creators who were making homesteading videos. I mean, there was a small community, but it was very small. For the most part, people were consuming the content that other, that a very, very small number of people were making. There was like, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. There was a number of creators, but it wasn't like it is now, where there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people making homesteading content. So this gave me kind of an interesting place to be in at the time. I had no idea what I was doing. I just realized something. I don't need that. Okay. I just realized, I didn't know what I was doing making videos. There weren't people to bounce ideas off of or anything else like that. There was only what I thought was funny or what Carrie thought was funny, and then we'd make the videos, and about 1 out of 10 like hit. We went through a phase where it was like the zombie apocalypse. And that was kind of weird. We made some weird videos in there too, which was kind of funny. But I am actually now a member of a group that is specifically homestead YouTubers, and it was such an interesting experience because I never really ask anyone for feedback on things. It's not really something that I've been really accustomed to doing. And yes, my stomach is growling, so if you can hear that, sorry. And what was super interesting about the feedback that I got from the questions that I asked was I took every bit of that feedback and put it into the video that we made this week. I don't know if you guys saw it. Doris, I think I saw that you shared it. I don't know if you watched it all the way through. But, hey, thank you so much. I'm super glad. We like to make people laugh.
Cool.
So I don't know if you watched it all the way through, Doris, but it was a very different video than we normally would make, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it was like it was us.
Yeah.
We were just sharing about ourselves, and that was different. Usually we're in our more recent ones, we were just kind of showing what we were doing, and it was pretty, and it was super awesome projects. And then in the past, it was definitely just have a good laugh.
Yeah. Yeah, and we would kind of play a character.
Yeah.
On it was like Bonham.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I came across the original. Oh, that was something else I wanted to say. We came across the original Bonham video, which I never posted, but it was Bonham Pistachio was his name. Bonham with a big H. Like, what? How do you pronounce your homestead name? The Kodesh Homestead? Is it, or Kodesh? Maybe you can write in the chat like how it's in the dictionary, where Yeah, so it was really, really interesting to see how much more engaging it was after taking the advice of people who had successfully been doing what it is that we wanted to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kodesh, correct. Yes!
Nice.
Nailed it. I'm really good at names,
Bing, bing,
too.
bing.
I don't remember names, but I usually pronounce them correctly. So that's why everybody is either six shooter or turbo to me. It's just how it is. So so anyway, it was really interesting to have a conversation with some of the people who have, 500,000 subscribers and or 100,000 subscribers and get 1 million views on their videos and everything, and get advice from people who very successfully did what it is that we wanted to do. So what I found, or what I realized while that was happening, was that that's the way people used to succeed at this lifestyle, right? You go to the Great Depression, or even pre-industrialization of whatever area you happen to be. People survived not because they could do everything themselves. People survived because they had a community that they could rely on, right? You go back to hunter-gatherer times. They would move in a group, nomadic tribes would go in a group, and some people would take care of the kids, and others would hunt, and others would gather, and there are a lot of old-timey, I'll just use that term, there are a lot of old-timey skills that are dying off. How to use a can opener, for example. You go online and it's amazing. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the video where there's like a whole classroom of kids and they're trying to use a can opener, and like the first one just fails at it and the second one just fails at it, and then finally somebody comes up and they just hack through this can opener, and everybody starts cheering, and I'm like, oh my God, that marks the end of civilization. that just happened right there, right? And I think the creator community and logic is dying off. That's an old-timey skill, right? There's so many of those types of skills that are dying off. And the creator community in the homesteading area, I feel like, are trying to actually keep those skills alive. Like, how do you actually do what you need to do to survive when you don't have a Vons or a
Walmart?
a Walmart right down the street, right? And I really think so okay, so that is a complete thought. So I'm going to stop there for a second and then start another complete thought that will ultimately come back together, hopefully. Maybe. We'll see. So you've got the skills that are dying off. And I think one that isn't taken into consideration very often, which I would like to kind of see more of. Hey, Ozark Family Homestead. How's it going? From Missouri.
Sweet.
Yeah, glad to have you. We were just watching one of your videos this morning, actually, on bread making.
Oh, I loved that.
Yeah, the one with your daughter.
So cool.
It was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys check out their channel. They're awesome.
Yeah. Ozark Family Homestead.
Yeah. So what's, to me, one of the skills that I don't think is harped on enough is the power of community, right? And that is like the ability to operate within a community and not only take from the community, but contribute to the community. That is a skill that I feel like isn't it's underrepresented on the important things when living this lifestyle, right? One thing that I notice, and we're all part of a bunch of different groups that have to do with off-grid living and homesteading and that kind of stuff, is people will talk about how, oh, when the poo hits the rotational device, I don't want people knowing where my property is, or I'm an isolationist, or I want to go off into the middle of the tundra in Alaska, and that's where I want to build my homestead. That's fine, but that's not how people lived this lifestyle in the past. The way that they actually survived was by being a part of a community, sharing their skills, exchanging with the people that are in their community, not just taking from the people that are in their community. And it improved. It was rising tides, or what is it? Rising tides lift all boats, sort of a situation, right? It wasn't just people, growing the wheat and taking care of the cattle and
raising the children
and raising the children and right. To think that you or any other person, some of the things that, what are some of the skills that you guys think that within a community are being lost? And also start to think with yourself, for yourself, what skills do you have that you can actually trade with the people in your community? What skills do you have?
This is very fascinating.
It's fascinating.
To me, I'm just like, oh, wow, yeah, those are, wow.
Somehow the chat got disconnected. So you guys are probably writing. Is it?
Successfully connected.
100%. See, Doris, you have all these awesome skills with gardening and making all your spices, and huge shout out to Doris and her group on Facebook in Hilson. Is it Farms? In Hilson Farms. Because you constantly find all this awesome information and you share it. And I feel like that is one of the things that is missing from the off-grid community, that the homesteading community could actually teach them. So I know there's some overlap, but they are not the same community. So let's check out what the chat has to say. I'd love to hear, what are some of your skills? What are you really good at? What are the things that you could actually, let's say money went away tomorrow. What skill do you have? Not a thing that you have, but what skill do you have that you could trade within your community to get something that you may need for you and your family to survive? Look at that. We're starting conversations here.
Boom.
Boom. What's Lila got? Boom. Wild food existed way back too. That has been obliterated in the Northeast. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hopefully it's a soft collapse, where like, you drive down the road in the country and you see like a barn that has a bunch of like steel cables that are attached to it that go out to like, have you seen that down when you're going into Wairika? There's, that barn is gonna collapse at some point. But if they do it right, they can kind of lay the thing down. That's civilization, in my opinion, is kind of going in that direction, where we got a bunch of cables attached to it, and they're held back with some some sandbags or whatever. But it's going like this. Hopefully, it doesn't go. That would be no good. So let's see. The Kodesh Homestead says, skills that will be useful are dependent upon the fuel resources available. Example, one that can frame with a nail gun and laser. Oh, you say RU1 that can frame with a nail gun and laser. My lack the skill to swing a hammer. Oh, may lack the skills to swing a hammer and set angles. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Our family is set apart as well. So glad to see you here.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
me
love it
too.
when you guys talk in the chat. That's phenomenal. I love that. So let's see, Doris, canning, dried foods, wild plants, and medicine, building, metalwork, at least the basics on metal. Yeah, those are all amazing skills, and they're exchangeable. They're things that you can use to get the things that you want, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So what else do you guys got? What other skills do you have that, or can you think of that are, it's like one of the skills we have is being able to shoot videos and stuff. And so the way that the world is organized now, that has exchange value. After the soft collapse of the barn, not going to have a lot of value, right? I mean, we'll still post to YouTube because why not?
That's funny.
Yeah.
Of
course, at that point, we're going to have to name a tree YouTube, and then we'll draw little stick figures.
We'll post things on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's great. That's really great.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble having an answer for myself to this question.
That is actually the
That's
realization that I was hoping would come about in the people that are listening.
Mm-hmm.
You're a people.
I'm a people too.
You're a people too.
People too.
So
back in the day, I was a music teacher.
Yeah, and
phenomenal.
We got this house that we're sitting in right now as a result of your music teaching and trading for it, which is phenomenal. So you see, the barn was like upright.
Uh-huh.
Right? It hadn't fully, or it was kind of upright. It had some dry rot, but as it collapses, what skill are we going to have to be able to trade with people?
I have you.
You do.
I will trade his knowledge. Can he?
Let me just say, that's a skill.
And plan.
Yeah, that is a skill. Dealing with me is a skill, So let's see what the old chat has to say. I think I'm pretty skilled at connecting people. Our local homesteading preparedness group is growing because I am finding ways to connect people together.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
That's right. We talked about that actually. That's something that we'd like to either start out here or find out here. We haven't had any luck with finding a group out here that I would feel safe Carrie going to by herself. Kids aren't old enough to be here by themselves just yet. Like another 30 minutes, 45 minutes, they're going to be old enough. So, yeah, and that is actually a skill that can be used no matter what civilization does. When you can connect people who can't connect themselves, there's value in that, right? In my opinion. I am asking a lot of the buttons on this shirt today.
Hey, they're there for you.
Yeah, they are there for me now.
They're there for you.
Let's see if we can keep them from collapsing.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
One day after a Thanksgiving, once, I'm going to this is an aside, while you guys are typing in your answers here, right after a Thanksgiving, I sat down with a friend, and, I mean, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday, so we eat and eat and eat and eat, and it's like the body becomes a pump where I'm just constantly bringing it in and then other things happen.
And he makes it all.
Yes.
And I'm right next to him, handing him what he needs. I'm a facilitator. That's what I am.
Yeah.
Really good at helping others get those things done.
Yeah. And it was actually a Thanksgiving that we were out here, because didn't we come out here for the Thanksgiving, because we made that, and then I sat down with anyway, we had a cob oven out here that I built that was big enough for me to make 2 turkeys and 9 sides and all at once, which was like that's the kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of Thanksgiving that I want to have. So anyway, after one of these Thanksgivings, and I'm just like bloated, I go and I sit down and I'm talking with somebody, and I can feel I'm putting a lot of pressure on my belt. Like I'm putting a lot of pressure on the belt. And it was one of those ones that had like the belt would go into the buckle, and then the thing you'd like close it on it, and it was tension that would hold it there. And we make a joke about how, it's like, oh, it's been Thanksgiving, I'm asking a lot of my belt and blah, 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 blah. No joke, as if it was planned in a Mel Brooks movie. My belt just squapow like that. It just, and it just jumps apart. And we both look at each other like with this look on our face, and then just start rolling, absolutely rolling. It was awesome. Yeah.
That's funny.
So I was hoping the same thing would happen right there, just for comedic effect, but it didn't, because quality buttons. So yeah. All right. Well, there's some more comments up here. Let's take them up. So Doris says, I have people in my group that can sew anything, and even can take wool and make her material. We trade a lot because I hate sewing. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it doesn't just have to be a skill that you can trade for because you haven't learned it or whatever else. It can just be there's certain things I just don't want to do. So if somebody else is like, oh, that's my jam, and I can trade something with them, that's the way to go. Now that is a skill that I'd really like to have, sewing. If you remember back in the day, I went through a phase where I got a sewing machine, and I couldn't call it sewing because
he was welding.
Yeah, it was cotton welding, and that's what I called it. So sewing doesn't really exist as a subject to me. But if you ask me about cotton welding, or tell me about cotton welding, I'm very interested, and I want to talk to you all about it. So
my mom loves to sew.
Oh, she does, and she's coming out. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Look at that. It's just all falling into place. It's all falling into place, guys.
So
that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
Yeah. The LOL about the buttons. Too funny. Yeah. Well, it's too funny until it happens. I have so many shirts that the buttons have just gone like that off into the distance. It's good. It's super good. Let's see. Kin Homestead. People also overlook skills like the ability to purify water or even make strong drink. Yeah, that's true, because it has so many uses. I mean, water, definitely, but strong drink, and I like how you put that to not trigger the algorithm. You're a smarty. It has so many uses: fire starter, antiseptic, social lubricant. Like there's you can clean almost anything with the right test strong fluid. So yeah, or strong drink. But yeah, it's also one of the most tradable things in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, per all the movies that I've seen about it. So that's also a good thing.
Nice.
Plus, it's a fuel. There's all kinds of cool stuff that you can do with it. I'm not a huge drinker. You're not really a big drinker, but it's nice to have on occasion.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
once every fiscal quarter, I think is about. Yeah. So let's see what Dora says. I have a dream of connecting people to trade each other stuff. Meet people in different ways that take it to the next stop. Oh, somebody will trade something here and then go to the next place and they can trade that thing for the next thing they need. It reminds me of I don't know if you ever see the videos online of people that like trade up from a penny. They start with a penny and then they get all the way to a Tesla or whatever. It's super cool. Yeah. Sometimes my connections to different things
Hey, it's cool.
need adjustments. So
Makes me laugh.
Yeah. You can tell I watch a lot of YouTube, so anyhow. Let's see. Kind of hard to get.
You learn a lot.
I learn a lot from YouTube.
From different, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes, I do. Sometimes I'm yelling at YouTube. That's not how you do that. Look at that booger weld. You know, there's all kinds of fun stuff.
Also funny.
Fun stuff you can get out of YouTube. So yeah, to finish that comment of Doris's, kind of hard to get everyone to understand what I am seeing in my head. I think you're totally right, Doris, and I think they're not going to have a hard time seeing what you're talking about when our currency collapses, which it is in the process of doing. And then you're going to either have to carry around a wheelbarrow full of dollar bills to be able to buy a loaf of bread, or you trade a couple chickens for it. You know what I mean? Like, you probably get more than a loaf of bread for a couple chickens, but, you know, just think, chicken, wheelbarrow full of dollars. It's going to make it really easy for people to understand what it is that you're talking about when that inevitable thing happens. So, but like I said before, I hope it's a soft collapse and not a barn burner, right? So let's see what's next. If vehicles are obsolete and horses become main means of transportation, then farriers will be a trade with increased necessity. I can actually read better than it sounds like here. I'm quite literate, but there's a light that is shining directly in my eyes, and it happens to put a white square over everything that I'm looking at. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, you're totally right. I happen to have been a pretty good blacksmith in the back in the day when we lived out here before. We basically supported the family for a couple years, making knives and ornamental metal and
music lessons.
Guitar hangers, that and music lessons.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we did. I likes to pound on some hot metal. Yeah. I wanted to make a t-shirt at one point that I didn't think would go over very well, but it was going to be a t-shirt that said Blacksmith Lives Matter. I didn't think that would fly, but yeah. So another trade is a butcher, especially for wild game. Yeah, that is totally true. That is hard work, and it's very skilled work to come up with good cuts of meat. It's very difficult. Let's see. Dora says, Leona in my group, she is unreal. Been, let's see, trying to get her to do videos. Oh, you know what? I actually, there was a time where I was trying to get Leona to do videos, and even with this face, I wasn't able to get her to do it. Yeah. But yeah, maybe if we like gang up on her and we're like, hey, you got to make videos with all those skills. Remember when I was trying to get everybody to post blogs, and Doris, you were around back then, to post blogs to our Sunburn Ass Ranch website? It was unbelievable. I think you were the only one that did. So I couldn't get it. There just wasn't creators in this area, and now it's just there's a million of them, and some of them are really good. Some of them have amazing information. And some of them, like us, are just here to make you laugh. So,
Yes.
I like to think we have a little bit good information. One thing that I would really like to do is actually build up my relationships with the folks that we're getting to know on the homesteading groups, the creator groups that we're now a part of, and start having people onto the live stream. You know,
So fun.
if you missed the very first part of the live stream, like, we brought some production value. We brought some production value this week. It was pretty good. You know, this is gonna be a thing someday. So let's see. Homestead truckers. Yeah, nice. All right. Kodesh Homestead. Having these communities or groups is the way civilization were as far back as biblical times. The essences kept themselves. I'm sorry. The Essenes kept themselves away from the world commerce system and relied on trade and labor.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I feel like I miss those good old days of
Oh yeah.
barter and trade.
I was born
Like,
in the wrong
I know.
millennia.
Man.
Yeah.
I just have to say that I find it very interesting, like, talking about community,
Mm-hmm.
that looking back on my youth and growing up, like, there were communities we had for specific functions and but it was very limited. I feel like for me jumping into communities and being like, I mean, for those of you who were back, you know, with us back in the day, me being on anything is complete, like, totally new. And it was very much like I did everything myself.
Yeah.
Not like, but I mean growing up, as like kind of like, oh, I can do that. And then not go, hey, how do I? Which kind of makes YouTube awesome, because now you can go, you know, well, what is the best kind of a soil for strawberries? What do they like? Or whatever,
Yeah.
you know. Anyway, just as an aside, I feel like this is a kind of a new and really neat realm. I mean, not totally new, but I love it. I love it.
It's a new way to look at community, though. You know,
Absolutely, yeah.
it's like we can now live. I mean, we live on top of a mountain in the middle of frickin' nowhere, half an hour away from a gas station, which, if you watched our video earlier, is the only thing that Phoenix liked more about living down in the city than living out here, is that we had a gas station right next to our house. She's 8 and awesome. Like, she's either gonna be like president or some kind of an, like, super villain. One of the two things is, I mean, actually those kind of fit together. Anyway.
That's very funny.
Sorry.
She'll be the owner of some company and going.
Yeah, that's definitely what she'll do. But that's the thing, is a different way to look at community, right? Is we can all be very close. And it's funny, I saw a meme the other day that people that you've never met in person on the internet will show you more support than people that you've known your whole life. And and it's true. And there's also trolls out there that will say horrible things to you because they're not worried about getting punched in the face. So you take the good with the bad, right?
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
I'm 6'3", 260 pounds. Some of the comments that I've gotten in the past, they would never say that to me in person. So anyway. All right, let's see what else we got. The trick with forming communities nowadays.
If you want me to read
Yeah,
it,
you
I don't
read.
have a glare.
I
don't have a
literally
glare.
can't see it.
Okay. The trick with forming communities nowadays, though, is that you have to stick your neck out there and be vulnerable. Putting your skills out to the public can be scary. That's Ozark Family Homestead. I
it's
totally, agree.
yeah, and especially when you're trying to show people how to do something, because man, you get well, that's not right. I don't care what you think is right. I just want something effective, and this is what I've found that's effective. I don't care about being right. I care about being effective. So, yeah, that's totally true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the Kodesh Homestead totally agrees with that prior comment from the Ozark family. Not there yet. Too many bad fruits still hanging around for the gates to be left open.
For sure. You know, I don't know that either one of you guys know, Ozark or Kodesh, know that, you know, when we arrived back on our property after, you know, making maybe 2 or 3 trips out here in 3 years, because I had some work in the city and we moved everybody down there. Everything on our homestead had been stolen. A 40-foot fifth wheel with 4 slide outs. You know, a window was broken in the house, and the doors were left open, like somebody broke in and then left all the doors open, so animals got in, and rain and snow and all of this other stuff. They stole our wood stove and tried to steal our big water tank, flipped it over and broke it, right? So yeah, there's still some baddies out there, and you know, if they come back now that we're here, which they actually did try to come back, and then saw that we were here and took off in the process, hitting one of our trees down the hill and leaving their
Like
tail
brake
lights.
light,
Yeah, their tail lights down there, which I kind of laughed about. But I got some freedom pellets for them if they, you know, if they want to find their way back to our place. Couple little, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Yeah. Come on back. Let's have a barbecue.
I'll go ahead and read on.
Yeah. Moving on.
Ozark Family Homestead says, yeah, we kept to ourselves for the longest time and then finally put our family out locally more than a year ago. I'm finally okay with putting ourselves out to the world. Well, mostly okay, kind of. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, with you.
I'm with you.
It took us probably 4 or 5, what was it, 4 or 5 years before we started making videos when we first moved out here? No, it was soon, maybe 3 or 4 years. Because I'm kind of a ham, you know? So I like the hamminess sort of thing. But it was a while. Because remember, I kept thinking, like, no, the authorities are going to see this and they're going to stop us from doing what we want to do. And then at some point I was like, they don't care about me. I'm a small fish. If they come, I'm very difficult to confront and also even more difficult to convince of anything. So
it's not like anybody's putting their address.
Like you're telling me what to do? It was like, how long have we been married? No? No? Oh, we're not married? Oh, my wife's in the house still? Yeah, I'm not going to listen to you.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
That was pretty funny.
Yep.
All right, what else? What else do we got?
What else we got?
Man, I can't believe we've been talking for an hour and 11 minutes.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
Wow.
You guys are good conversation.
Nice. Let's see. The sad part with groups or communities is that people flock towards those that make them feel good.
It's true.
Psychology plays a big role in communities. Sooner or later, the morals and foundational beliefs peek through. Yeah.
I think that can be a good and a bad thing. That's sad that y'all had to endure all that. Yeah, it was, but we're like, it just made for more motivation to do what it was that we were actually setting out to do with this whole project here. Them taillights on the tree still. They're actually right under the tree. I haven't picked them up yet, but I was thinking about doing this because this is a small community, right? our entire county is the size of LA County and Ventura County combined, right? So it's a lot of space. It's like some number that sounds made up amount of square miles. It's huge, right?
Yeah, I forget.
But there's only 40,000 people that live here, right? And so I know what the car looks like, and someday I'm going to run into these people. I would love to just be able to have the little chunks of taillight in the truck with me, and then just be
Here,
like,
you
hey, you dropped this, right? I have all these little scenarios that play out in my head. That way I'm not really caught off guard by things, because it's like, oh, apply scenario number 623 to that situation, right? It's just boom.
That'd be hilarious.
All right, Lila, you have a good one. It was great having you hang out.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's see. What was it? Let's pick up the next one. I'm sure I missed something there, but I got sidetracked with anecdotes.
Let's see. Ozark Family says, y'all tempt me to want to try alive. Oh, good. But I'm afraid the children wouldn't cooperate.
Oh yeah. Well, you've got.
I'm surprised ours haven't come in yet.
Yeah.
To be honest.
What I'm actually scared of is we're gonna walk out of this room and find what we find.
And you've got older ones too, and we've got older ones. So we just told them, help out with the little guys if they need anything.
Yeah.
So the little guys, if you need anything, ask your sisters, and say la vie. I would love to see you do a live stream.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I'd totally watch that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It can be kind of nerve-wracking. I know from because you're on YouTube looking at it, you're seeing our YouTube channel, and it's like, wow, these people have an entire 140 some odd subscribers. We actually have been doing live streams for a long time. Our first live stream was 6 years ago. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
And at that point, it was just me sitting in the car with the phone and everything, and we did all kinds of different variations of it, but you just do it and you have fun with it, and you don't let the trolls who will inevitably come get to you, and you just ignore them and have fun. In my first live stream, we had no trolls, and it was like just me mumbling for a while, but there was like 600 people watching because I posted it in this very big off-grid living and homesteading group. And the second one, all trolls, and I made the mistake of engaging with them, which made it worse. So but yeah, you should try it. I bet you guys would love it. It's a lot of fun, even if you just turn on the camera and you just chit chat with people. It's a lot of fun. All right, what else?
Sweet. From the Quidditch Homestead. Oh, Kodesh.
Not Quidditch. Like it's Quidditch. Like it's Quidditch. I'll be watching Harry Potter. Feeling fly like it's Quidditch.
Sorry. Kodesh Homestead says, I felt led to open my property up for people when that time comes. But seeing how groups seemingly devour one another from the inside out makes the idea alone uncomfortable. Oh, man.
The thing about that, though, the thing that causes that is an inability to exchange among the group and not determining what you have that you can exchange, what skills or that is what happens, right? Is you let enough people into a group that have no exchange value, and that's when the group starts to devour itself. People click off, and now you've got 15 smaller groups, right? The trick to building a group, and I have some experience in this area, the trick to building a group or a team or anything else like that is ensuring that each member knows what their job is and what their exchange value is, and that the rest of the group does have a standard for them to exchange that, right? Not just, oh, that guy's really good at welding. Well, does he ever weld for anybody? Nope. You know, there has to be exchange, and that's what will keep a group living. And then the group internal pressure from the rest of the group members to ensure that that thing does actually happen. That is the secret.
Yeah, I don't think we've had any.
I could full on write a book about that subject.
Yeah.
It'd be a little book, but it'd be a book.
Easy to read.
There'd be a lot of pictures. Let me just tell you, there'd be a lot of pictures.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we've started a couple groups and they were lovely. I mean, everyone was just. I mean, unless you screened him out, because he's very sweet about that. For me.
Yeah, for the most part.
No, yeah.
We applied that, and we never had any like big problems with it.
Yeah, really lovely people.
But I know a little thing or two about building a group.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Well, on
we got a couple more.
Cool. We've got great advice and input. So ultimately ensuring that people are involved and part of the system, showing them value for their role.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's exchange. Like, people have to exchange with each other. If they do not, their lack of exchange will be the vacuum that pulls in the trouble. That will be the thing that actually does pull in. You know, it's like, what is it? What's the story about was it the ants that were working all the time? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They're working all the time, and then the squirrel's like, I'm just going to chill, right? And then,
then there's also
winter
Henny Penny.
comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, winter comes, and then the squirrel's starving, and the ants are like, you know.
Yeah, we're not giving you any of this because you didn't contribute.
Yeah, and then the squirrel starved to death. or didn't. I don't know. Yeah. Something happened to the squirrel. I think the ants took mercy or took pity. But I'll bet you anything, if you followed that story to its like logical conclusion, and they just let the squirrel eat, you know, or whatever, then everybody starved.
It's the same line as Henny Penny. She's making bread. Asks this guy to help, and or you know,
like, nope.
Whoever, and then by the time she's done, and the only person that helped or animal that helped, they enjoyed the bread and the, you know, because they helped make it.
And everyone else ate dirt.
Everyone else starved.
And everyone, would just take it. Yeah, worst possible outcome. Everyone else, and they died. So, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Well, thank you for that.
That's great. Ozark Family says, "Oh, that's good. I'm afraid I'd want to bring in people that ended up being charity cases, and that would be our downfall. You should definitely write a book about that."
Hey.
Thanks, Ozark Family.
Yeah, if you just make the rules and expectations of any group, or like any, it doesn't matter how big the group is, but if you make the rules and expectations of that group very well known and understood prior to, you know, them coming in. Now, obviously, you're going to find, and this is where the strength of leadership comes in, which sounds a little pretentious and self-indulgent, but go with me here, right? The strength of leadership is you can make the rules known, and you're gonna get a bad apple every once in a while. What leadership is in that scenario is having the strength to go, you need to go, and actually enforcing it. I've known some people that are really good at that. Some big people and some very small people, really good at enforcing that. But I've known some people that were really bad at it, and no matter what you said to them, like, no, they'll come around. No, they'll come around. You can't be reasonable with that kind of activity. You can't, because people who are, I think the term, and you'll want to look this up in a dictionary because it's one of my favorite words, shiftless, wholly shiftless, right? Which means completely lacking in resourcefulness. Great word, right? they don't change, and they're not going to come around or anything else like that.
Interesting.
And so when you come across someone who is wholly shiftless, just get rid of them.
I have a story about that.
Yeah.
When I was a music teacher, I taught in a couple schools, and I had some of my students that were, in 3rd and 4th grade come up to me and go, we had some kids tell us that we sounded terrible and we were just doing a bad job and whatever else. And I said, who was it? And they told me, and I said, you go tell the whoever teacher, have them come to me now. And as far as the idea of having a community and
then she
leadership,
spun kicked him. Uppercut.
as far as the enforcing on leadership, I had those students come in who were, degrading the smaller ones, and pretty much just told them what they did and said was 100% not okay. How would they feel in that situation? And that I don't ever want to hear that they've done anything like that ever again. So it was coming down on their actions so hard that I was protecting future children for them to not do that too. So it's
elbow.
Yeah. So it is that as far as keeping like a group safe and the actions of those that are trying to bring it down, to not, by stopping that and either removing them or having them like, okay, I won't do that anymore, is helping future people that will be a part of the group so that they are not continuing those actions within a group, as long as, you're able to, even as a bystander, I'm like, hey, that wasn't cool or whatever.
Yeah.
My little side story on that.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think I've either heard this quote before or I just made it up, so we'll go with the latter, which is rake the path, but keep pre-dug holes, right? I think I made that up, actually, right?
I've never heard that before.
You can rake the path, and you can make it nice and smooth for people to travel on, but you have pre-dug holes for the folks that come and tear the path up. Also, just as an aside, when my daughters start dating, which at some point they will, I want to take a 50 cal bullet. I want to have it with me, and when the person comes, because they're going to have to meet me, it's going to be awesome. I'm going to just be sitting there like kind of polishing it or whatever, and then after we talk for a little bit, I'm going to say, so have her home by 10 or whatever, and then I'm going to toss it to them, just nice underhand toss, and say, or the next one will come a lot faster. Like that. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I've been planning this since I found out that we were having a daughter 13 years ago. It's going to be fantastic. So rake the path, but have pre-dug holes for those who would tear it up.
That is funny. That's funny.
What did Doris say?
So far I like keeping my home to ourselves and meet away from both home to trade. And I still feel safe with others here.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm going to put that saying up there with plans make the best kindling. That's like...
It definitely kind of makes you go, wait, what?
Yeah, wait, what did you just say? It's also up there with when somebody's talking too much, which we may be doing right now. Or I may... See, I use we when it's a positive thing. I when it's a negative thing. Including right people. But when somebody's talking too much, you tell them, if you could just hold your thoughts for just a moment and let the cut under your nose heal, we're all going to be good, right?
The confusing look on our children's faces when he says that is priceless.
Yeah, it's pretty priceless. Someday they're going to realize, oh, he's talking about my mouth. Yeah. So, anyway.
That's great. Shall we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think we should wrap it up. Well, you guys have been so much fun to talk to today.
Yep.
I gotta say, this is probably my favorite one of these live streams
Ditto.
that we've probably ever done. And for the literal handfuls of people who may see it in the future, we hope that you had fun too. So thank you so much for the great conversation. And I hope you guys will join us again next week. We do this every Sunday, anywhere between 10 o'clock and 11:30 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
We're going to try and get better at that.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Someday. We say that every week. So
Try.
anyway, being on schedule is something that we are wholly shiftless about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyhow, it was really good hanging out with you guys. We love you, and we will talk to you next week. You have anything to say?
Oh, I had fun.
See, I was gonna pause there, like.
I had super fun. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Ozark family, back at you.
And do the live thing. You might actually really enjoy it.
Do it. And you can always message us and see, if you need any.
Yeah, send me I know we're in the same Facebook group. Send me a friend request so we can stay connected.
Yeah.
Same. I don't know if Kin Homestead, if you're also on Facebook, send me a friend request, or her, Jason Rutland or Carrie Rutland. All right, and I'm the third most popular Jason Rutland on Facebook, so that's how you'll know.
I don't know where I rank. You'll find me as a party. Anyway, yeah.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.